Welcome to another update in the Jimny build, the Jimny JB74, right here on FE Builds. Today we'll be looking into sound and we'll cover everything you need to know so that you don't go out and make expensive mistakes and have to redo things over and over and waste more money. By watching this video, you'll be able to get all the knowledge you need in order to set up a good system from scratch and get it working nicely without your Jimny speakers sounding like they're in a tin can. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So in front of me you see some sheets, dampening sheets, and sound absorber sheets. These are very important in order to bring the most out of the speakers and actually allow the speakers to push out at their full potential. Without the extra dampening, you won't get the full potential out of your sound system. So I was recommended to install this in the Jimny behind the speakers, as you will see in the doors. I never installed it throughout the Jimny, but just in specific places close to the speakers so that the sound was greatly enhanced from the speakers. And it did produce a really good difference that was worth the investment. Okay, so here's a comparison between the magnet on the OEM speakers and the magnet on the Power Series speaker. However, we found that the Power Series speaker with the tweeter like that didn't fit nicely in the Jimny because of the tweeter that comes all the way around. At this point over here, you can see there's mounting points for brackets and there's actually a speaker wire there already. So Suzuki almost knows that you'll want to add those rear speakers at some stage, and they left that there for you. However, I took a different route. I took the route of putting my own wires through, separate wires, never touched the harness at all, and kept it totally separate. Warranty issues come in with the radio and the wiring systems when you touch their wires, when you cut their wires, when you join, when you do various different things. Also, you can see the guys installing the dampening on the doors. They installed inside behind the speakers. You can see the Rockford Prime installed, and behind that there's some dampening. In front of it there is, and also in the back behind the speakers there is dampening installed. That greatly helps the speakers. It reduces the road noise coming in, and that noise can flood out your speakers. Apart from that, it also stops your speakers from sounding like they're in a tin can. So that's very important, as it maximizes your investment in your sound system and just ensures that things are working well. So they're taking off the seat to fit the underseat sub, and over here at the back you can see we made custom speaker mounts. And behind the speakers you can see all the dampening, and behind those custom speaker mounts you can also see a certain amount of padding so that the speakers actually sound much better facing inwards. So we had two options when going for subs. We never had the option for the Rockford sub or the Saroon Vega. I would have gone for those any day. But our options were either the Power Bass, which I've never really heard about or dealt with, and the other option was Alpine, the 8-inch Alpine sub, compact, and it's got a nice bass line to it. So this is the one I went with. And up next you'll see them installing it. It's very simple, very straightforward, but once again, with the sub and also with the amp, we ran separate wires to the batteries where they get their power from, and also to the speakers we ran separate wires. We didn't want to touch the factory wires or mess with them in any way to prevent any issues concerning warranty. So each speaker has its own wire running to it, all four, and even the sub has its own wire running to it because the infotainment system we're going to install and replace the factory one with allows you to customize settings on speaker specific systems. So it'll allow you, for instance, to customize the sub alone. It'll allow you to customize the front left speaker alone or the right rear speaker alone. Whichever speaker you want to do, it allows you to have that customization on the speakers, which is really good. And it also helps you in instances where you don't want the sound to be balanced in a certain way, or if you have a child sleeping at the back but you want to play music, you can switch off the sound at the back and you can switch off the sub and you can keep the two speakers at the front going, and it's still more than enough for you to hear your music nicely but not disturb the child at the back. We also installed this really cool reverse camera, and it has really high resolution, and it was greatly enhanced by the head unit we installed in the car. But it's very important that you have that, especially if you plan on upgrading your tires and they're really big and they're at the back there and you can't see where you're going when you're reversing, especially if you want to line your hitch up with the trailer or you're in a tight spot. It just really helps so that you don't hit anything in the process. So a special wooden plate was cut for the sub, and the sub was installed to that wooden plate. That wooden plate was bolted down to the body of the vehicle so that with all the movement and the pressure from the sub and all the vibrations, it doesn't start making a rattle sound in the next few years. So this was done professionally, and it was done in a way that you get the best out of your sound system. And I would recommend you to do the same if you're installing with some other installers out there, or you want to do it yourself. Make sure you install your sub in such a way that it also doesn't slide around and get kicked or get damaged or dirty in the process, but it sits fast in one place and it also doesn't rattle a lot. Now, the system is basically halfway complete over here. You can see the factory system is still in, and we switched on. We noticed all 4 speakers were working, the sub was working, but it wasn't working according to satisfaction. This kind of setup would please someone who is just trying to get a loud noise out of their whole car's sound system. But for someone like me, I want more control over the sound. I want to be able to change certain things I don't like. I want to be able to customize things, and the factory unit doesn't allow you to do that. Furthermore, we did some experiments and some tests, and we found that on the equalization, the final equalization of the outputs of the factory unit, it's set best for the Suzuki speakers that come with the car, so that they could pull the most out of those speakers and make them sound the best. So the moment you connect that head unit sending power or sending signal to other speakers, it wouldn't sound as good as it can. And we had to fix that problem. We had to address it. You can see the rear cameras working on the OEM head unit, but we changed that out, and you'll see even as this video goes along. These were the tests we spoke about. We plugged in flat sound into the OEM system and through the sound system, and we could see why with such quality speakers it was still distorting. It wasn't a problem with the speakers, it was a problem with the factory infotainment system, because that was tuned to bring the most out of the small speakers that come with the Suzuki cars. Now, I'm not shooting Suzuki down in any way. They did what they did to provide a really good sound at the price point they have. So this showed and emphasized the reason why we needed to install an amplifier to be able to power up the new speakers. And also we had to replace the infotainment system to a system with quality preamps that pushes out a very clear signal, and a system that is flat on its equalizer that you can customize according to your own setting, and has a lot of features. You can actually set each and every speaker separately, and that's the front speakers, the back speakers, front speaker individually, so front left individually or front right individually, rear right individually or rear left individually, and also the sub. And you will see us doing tests over here so that we determine the best system to put in and the best way it would be, so that we could have that sound system operating at its optimal rate. With all this being said, and with all the tests being done, with all the money being invested in the speakers, and with the demands we had and what we wanted to meet, we had the amp installed and it was working nicely. So you'll see the factory system, and then up next I'll show you the new system. So this is the factory system, and up next I'll show you the new Sony system. So finally we ended up installing this Sony AX6000, and this is a step up from the standard radio. The only thing I didn't like about this is we had to get another one, a double DIN holder for it, and also it's a matte black finish on the inside, so it doesn't really match over there. But apart from that, if you're really into your sound like I am, then it's actually a really nice way to go, because it allows you a lot of customization. If you look in the sound over here, you can control your EQ. You can have, there's custom settings that you can do. You can actually tune different bands. Then there's different presets already there, as you can see. Apart from that, you can set your subwoofer level, because it sends a separate signal for the subwoofer. And I've got it zeroed in over there because I've got a small control down there that can actually increase or decrease the sub. And you can switch on and off your sub, just in case you want to test your speakers. You can also, this is there on the standard radio, the balance, the fader. You can set the sound all to the front. Suppose you want to cut off the back speakers, you can push it all the way forward, like so. And you can sort of put it to that corner, the back, over there, whichever place you want it. But obviously for me personally, I want to hear all my speakers and my bass bin, and I want it all to be balanced in nicely. You can also set your listening position and your crossover. This is a really nice thing because basically you don't want your subwoofer to be pushing out frequencies that are not for the sub to push out. So basically it ends up causing the sub to distort, because because the sub is trying to push out frequencies that are not for or not in that frequency range. So that's one other thing I liked about this over the factory radio that came with this particular Jimny. And this was really all these settings that I've showed you over here were really the deciding factor that made me actually change the infotainment system. So this is not for everyone, but it's for those people who really want that crisp, clear audio. By the way, it also has preamps, and the sound that comes out from this is not distorted. It is crystal clear, it's nice, and it actually brings the most out of your speakers that you install. So if you've paid a lot of money for the speakers that you've put in your Jimny and your amp and your sub, then obviously you want to get the most out of it, and this is where this comes in. So you can see the crossover for the front speakers, the rear speakers, and the subwoofer, and it's got all those settings over there. Another thing to note about this system is it comes with wireless Apple CarPlay or wireless Android Auto. So it was really nice, eliminated the need to have constant cables plugged into the phone. So as you can see, it keeps kicking in because I keep getting messages on my phone in one of the Jimny groups. But it is an awesome radio. And basically, that's why I chose this system. It is a really nice system. It works really well. And it really works with my sound and brings the most out of it, because I like that crisp, clear sound, and the bass needs to be proper, thick, and nice bass, and it really works really well. So any videos that I record trying to show you the sound quality can't actually do. Any videos I record trying to show you the quality of the audio can't actually do justice to the system unless you hear it in person. But that's a wrap for this video. Thank you for watching. Until next time, from FE Builds, have a good one.